Welcome to Bills Nation Daily, your ultimate daily dose of everything Buffalo Bills. Hit that subscribe button and join the most passionate Bills fans as we break down all the latest news, highlights, and game analysis. Go Bills! The NFL world woke up to a shockwave that rippled through every corner of social media and sports talk shows alike. The Buffalo Bills have officially announced the departure of quarterback Shane Buechele. The news broke early in the morning, catching fans completely off guard, as there had been no major rumors, no leaks, and no signs that such a move was even on the horizon. For weeks, Buechele had been praised internally for his leadership, sharp reads in practice, and growing chemistry with the offense. Insiders claimed he was gaining traction as a potential key piece in the Bills' future plans. And then, out of nowhere, the front office dropped the bombshell. Shane Buechele was out. No explanation, no farewell message, just a cold statement. Fans flooded X, Reddit, and every possible corner of the internet demanding answers. How could a team that had just started finding rhythm suddenly let go of one of its most promising players? It feels like déjà vu for Bills fans who've seen talent walk away before, but this one stings differently. It feels sudden, personal, and to many unnecessary. The Bills Mafia isn't just surprised, they're hurt, and they want to know who made this call. Inside the Bills locker room, reports suggest that the mood was tense, almost surreal. Teammates were apparently caught off guard by the decision, with several players reportedly finding out through social media rather than directly from the team. That's a move that never sits well in a professional environment, especially in one as tight-knit as Buffalo's. Players like Josh Allen, who had often spoken about Buechele's work ethic and energy during training camp, were said to be visibly frustrated. This isn't just about losing a backup quarterback. It's about losing a locker room presence, a spark plug, a guy who understood the culture and embraced the grind. What's even more puzzling is that there wasn't a publicized disciplinary issue or performance concern that could justify the move. Buechele was considered reliable, focused, and respected. Theories are already flying. Could it be a behind-the-scenes disagreement? A clash with the coaching staff? Or maybe a front office decision tied to salary cap management? Whatever the reason, the optics are terrible. The Bills, once admired for stability and strong team culture, suddenly look like an organization struggling to manage its own narrative. In the hours following the announcement, fans took over the narrative. The hashtag #BringBackBuechele began trending within minutes, as Bills supporters flooded social media with tributes, highlight clips, and messages of frustration. One particularly viral post showed a fan wearing a handmade Buechele Believer shirt captioned, "We trusted the process. Now what process is this?" It's a feeling of betrayal that echoes through Buffalo's fan base, which has long prided itself on loyalty and unity. Local radio stations were swamped with callers expressing disbelief, anger, and even sadness. Many described Buechele not just as a player, but as part of the Bills family, a guy who represented hope and grit. Even rival fan bases joined the conversation, some mocking the move, while others expressed genuine confusion. Analysts on ESPN and Fox Sports scrambled to make sense of the decision, but none could point to a clear explanation. In a league driven by data, performance metrics, and calculated roster strategy, this one feels emotional and messy. Fans are demanding transparency, but the Bills' front office remains silent, fueling the fire of speculation even more. Meanwhile, whispers around the league suggest that Buechele's phone hasn't stopped buzzing since the news broke. Several teams are reportedly interested in bringing him in, intrigued by his strong preseason showings and his reputation as a cerebral, disciplined player. There's talk of the Patriots sniffing around, as well as a few NFC teams that could use a young, hungry quarterback to develop behind veterans. If that happens, it would sting even more for Buffalo fans. Watching Buechele flourish elsewhere would turn this situation from puzzling to painful. Insiders close to the player describe him as calm, professional, and focused on the next opportunity. No public statements yet from his camp, just a quiet confidence that speaks volumes. It's possible that he'll land somewhere soon, maybe even with a team that will give him the shot he never truly got in Buffalo. And if that happens, the Bills' decision will be scrutinized for years. You can almost feel it. This story isn't ending here. It's just beginning, and it's shaping up to be one of the most talked-about shakeups of the season. Behind closed doors, there's speculation that this move might signal deeper changes within the Bills organization. Could this be the beginning of a rebuild masked as roster adjustment? Or perhaps a philosophical shift from the coaching staff about the type of quarterback they want developing behind Josh Allen? The Bills have been under pressure lately, not because they're losing, but because expectations have skyrocketed. Every small decision is magnified, and every misstep becomes a headline. Cutting BUECHELE might be part of a larger chess move, but it's hard to sell that narrative when fans don't see the bigger picture. Sources say that some within the organization question the timing, especially given the upcoming stretch of tough games where depth at quarterback could be crucial. It's almost like the Bills created a distraction at the worst possible time. When you combine that with the silence from general manager Brandon Beane, the optics get worse. Transparency could have softened the blow, but instead, it feels like a storm is brewing. Something doesn't add up, and the Bills might soon find themselves answering questions they'd rather avoid. For now, the Bills fan base is stuck between heartbreak and confusion. The stadium that once roared with belief now feels like it's holding its breath. Everyone is waiting for answers, waiting for clarity, waiting for a sign that this team still knows where it's headed. The Shane BUECHELE saga has become more than a personnel move. It's become a symbol of how fragile trust can be between a franchise and its fans. Every like, every retweet, every heated podcast segment adds fuel to the fire. In the grand scheme of the NFL, maybe this is just another transaction. But to Buffalo, it's personal. It's about loyalty, identity, and the belief that this team, this family, stands for something more than numbers on a stat sheet. Whether the Bills can regain that trust remains to be seen, but one thing's certain. This story isn't fading anytime soon. It's only growing louder, echoing through every locker room, every sports bar, and every living room where the Bills Mafia bleeds blue and red. And now, maybe a little bit of disbelief. If the Shane BUECHELE release was a shock, what's happening behind the scenes now feels like an aftershock spreading through the entire organization. Reports have surfaced suggesting tension between members of the coaching staff and the front office, especially regarding player evaluations. Sources close to the situation claim that head coach Sean McDermott may not have fully agreed with the decision, but was ultimately overruled by management. If true, that opens up a can of worms that no NFL franchise wants spilling into the public eye. The Bills have always prided themselves on unity, one team, one vision. But right now, that vision looks blurry. Players have been careful with their words in interviews, but body language says more than statements ever could. When teammates look defeated before a game, you know something's off. Some analysts are already calling this the most tone-deaf move of the season. The question isn't just why BUECHELE was cut, but what that decision represents. A crack in the armor? A deeper disconnect? Either way, the ripple effect is real. And the locker room harmony that once defined this team feels suddenly fragile. Fans, meanwhile, aren't letting the story die down. In Buffalo, the energy is different. The same passion that makes the Bills Mafia legendary is now turning into collective outrage. Sports bars are buzzing with theories, podcasts are dissecting every angle, and even local politicians are weighing in with tongue-in-cheek remarks about leadership accountability. It's the kind of community uproar that can either push a franchise to respond or backfire entirely if silence continues. Some fans are calling for boycotts, while others say they'll still show up but won't let management forget what they did. What's fascinating is how personal it all feels. BUECHELE wasn't a superstar, but he embodied something fans related to: the underdog spirit, the relentless work ethic, the quiet confidence. Losing him feels like losing a part of the team's soul. The irony? The Bills built their entire brand around being underestimated, around fighting back against the odds. Now it's the fans who feel underestimated, left in the dark by the very people they've supported through every heartbreak and near miss. Nationally, this saga has become must-watch drama. Every major sports network has devoted airtime to dissecting it, with analysts split down the middle. Some defend the Bills, saying this could be part of a long-term strategy we just can't see yet. Others argue it's a panic move, a desperate attempt to shake things up that may backfire spectacularly. Former players have started chiming in too, with several hinting that something doesn't smell right about the timing. There's even talk of possible locker room leaks revealing more about internal conflicts, though nothing concrete has surfaced yet. But make no mistake, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. The Bills organization, known for its tight information control, suddenly looks vulnerable. This story has legs, and the longer they stay quiet, the longer it runs. What started as a shocking roster move has evolved into a full-blown narrative about leadership, loyalty, and the cost of losing touch with the human side of the game. It's no longer just sports news, it's a cultural moment, and Buffalo is right in the middle of it. Shane Buechele, on his end, has remained a class act. Despite the chaos, sources close to him say he's declined multiple interview requests, choosing instead to focus on his training and next opportunity. His silence speaks volumes. It's calm, confident, and mature, showing exactly why fans rally behind him in the first place. Rumors suggest that at least 3 teams have already reached out, and one NFC West contender is reportedly preparing an offer. If Buechele lands somewhere soon, and especially if he finds success, it could be one of those stories that haunts the Bills for years. Think about it. The one who got away, the player they never truly gave a chance. It's the kind of storyline that sports writers dream about, but fans dread. The Bills may think this will fade, but if Buechele shines somewhere else, every highlight, every touchdown, every victory will feel like salt on a wound that's still fresh. And for Buffalo fans who believed in him, that's a pain that doesn't heal easily. Sometimes, the players you lose end up defining your legacy more than the ones you keep. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. What's particularly interesting is how this entire episode has exposed the emotional underbelly of football fandom. It's a reminder that fans don't just follow players for stats or fantasy points. They connect with stories, personalities, and energy. Shane Buechele was more than a backup quarterback. He was a symbol of persistence, the guy who never complained, who showed up early and stayed late. When fans lose a player like that, it feels like a betrayal of effort and loyalty. The Bills, once the embodiment of resilience, now risk being seen as detached and corporate. Some sports psychologists even commented on how this could impact team morale, arguing that decisions like these can ripple into performance when trust erodes. And if the Bills stumble in upcoming games, you can bet this story will come roaring back to life. Because in sports, timing is everything. And right now, the timing of this move couldn't be worse. Buffalo is supposed to be a family, and families don't handle goodbyes like this. The emotional fallout might take weeks, maybe months, to fade. As for what comes next, it's anyone's guess. The Bills front office is expected to face the media soon, and fans are hoping for more than the usual PR script. They want honesty. They want emotion. They want to know that their voices are being heard. Because right now, it feels like a fracture between the people on the field and the people in the stands. If Buffalo wants to restore that bond, they'll need to show humility, admit that maybe this was mishandled, that maybe communication could have been better. Whether that happens or not will define how this season unfolds, both on and off the field. In the end, this isn't just a story about a quarterback being released. It's a story about connection, identity, and what happens when a beloved team forgets how deeply fans care. Shane Buechele may no longer be a Buffalo Bill, but his impact and the firestorm his departure created will echo through the league long after the dust settles. Because in Buffalo, loyalty isn't just a slogan. It's a way of life. The final layer of speculation revolves around timing and momentum, with insiders suggesting that the decision, if confirmed, is meant to maximize both competitive advantage and public excitement. Analysts are weighing how Sanders' integration could influence preseason strategy, depth chart decisions, and even draft priorities, emphasizing that the timing of any announcement could serve as a strategic tool to dominate headlines. Fans are theorizing about season-opening matchups, imagining highlight plays, clutch drives, and game-defining moments that could instantly validate the hype surrounding Sanders. Social media has become a virtual stadium, where reactions, debates, and predictions create a continuous feedback loop that amplifies the narrative's intensity. Every rumor, leak, and insider tip adds layers to the story, keeping the football world engaged and invested. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the swirling speculation alone has already begun reshaping perceptions, energizing the fan base, and creating a sense of anticipation that rivals the thrill of playoff contention. In this way, the saga of Shedeur Sanders and the Buffalo Bills transcends simple transaction talk, becoming a living narrative that captivates audiences, fuels conversations, and redefines the off-season drama in ways that promise to dominate headlines for months to come. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.